for Native American dialogue and organizing support, and that's exactly what we do. We peacefully advocate for not only environmental rights but for basic human rights, primarily Native rights. Why are we gathered here today? This is a protest, and this is in protest of several federal attacks brought on neighboring sovereignty. I struggle with this word, you guys. You have to give me a little bit of a break. Public speaking is not my thing. In fact, this is the first time I've ever done it. Okay, so originally we were gathered here because the Army Corps of Engineers, we wanted to send out a plea to them in response to Standing Rock sending out a call for action for a national day of call of action. And it actually turned out to be international. There's 150 actions going on in 47 states and over a dozen countries. And it's pretty phenomenal. That just speaks volumes as to what it means to people. This is far beyond a Native issue, which is what it was really played out to be in the beginning. This is a human issue. If you are human, if you consume water, this is of importance to you. And originally this was all planned before the Army Corps of Engineers released their statement last night, which I would like to read verbatim so that everybody is aware of this, because believe it or not, I actually wasn't aware of this till this afternoon. So everything I had planned to say has now changed, but I want to make sure that everybody has heard the release that was issued. Yesterday, the Army Corps statement said, they informed the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, Energy Transfer Partners, and Dakota Access that it has completed the review that it launched on September 9th. The Army has determined that additional discussion and analysis are warranted in light of the history of Great Sioux Nation's disposition of lands and the importance of Lake Wahi to the tribe, our government-to-government relationship, and the statute governing easements through government property. The Army invites the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe to engage in discussion regarding potential conditions on an easement for the pipeline crossing that would reduce the risk of a spill or rupture, hasten detection and response to any possible spill, or otherwise enhance protection of the Lake Oahe and the tribe's water supplies. The Army invites discussion of the risk of the spill in such light of conditions, and whether to grant an easement for the pipeline to cross Lake Oahe at the proposed location. The Army continues to welcome any input that the tribe believes is relevant to the proposed pipeline crossing or granting of an easement. While these discussions are ongoing, construction on or under Corp land bordering the Lake Oahe cannot occur because the Army has not made a final decision on whether to grant an easement. Right? They continue saying that the Army will work with the tribe on a time that allows for robust discussion and analysis to be completed expeditiously. They further state that they fully support the rights of all Americans to assemble and speak freely, and urge everyone involved in protests or pipeline activities to adhere to the principles of nonviolence, which we are going to do tonight. So the other issue that is kind of come about since all of this was this morning, DAPL releasing a statement saying that they are going to continue forward and they're going to try and sue to be able to do it without permission from the Army Corps of Engineers. So even though this statement is wonderful, we still have something that we are facing, and we still need to stand up, and we still need to raise our voices, and we still need to gather. We still need to support everything that they are doing down in Standing Rock. So we are still here. The other issue that we are gathering regarding is that recently our re-elected congressional delegation proposed legislation that essentially makes it a land grab-all for private and Native Ute tribal lands. So we're here to call on our representative Rob Bishop to rescind the Utah Public Lands Initiative as well. Both of these initiatives are violating native sovereignty. And so that's why we're here. That's why we've gathered here today. All of us, every one of us are here because of these two issues. And so what we're going to do, we're going to stay really peaceful. We're going to stay on the sidewalks. We're going to be orderly. We're going to be really respectful. But we are going to raise our voices, and we're going to let our representatives know where we stand and why we're here, what is important to us. And I'm hoping that you'll go home, and as you have conversations with family members and friends and coworkers, this just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because it needs to be bigger. This is not the only issue that Native tribes are facing regarding their lands, and this is the beginning. This is the beginning of something really big. And that's why Panda... Can you hear me now? Anyway, so right now we're going to take and we're going to march down State Street. We're going to go, actually, we have somebody really special to speak to you. Please give a big round of applause for Moroni Benally.
Yat is Che Moroni Benally in Shen na Shashin Slindo, but Anibashin do Tohane doesn't say, do Tabahai doesn't allow. You put out the Nensle. I use it the Nensle. D. Abenina, why we are here, a Toeina Abenina. This is why we are here together. My name is Moroni Benally, and I'm part of the Utah League of Native American Voters. And I just got a message from a colleague of mine. We were colleagues in finishing our doctorate degree, and we're both focusing in on tribal co-optation in different settings. Her family lives a mile away from the Standing Rock access pipeline. She took a leave of absence from her academic work to go back home. She sent me a message today after she found that there was a resolution going through the Salt Lake City Council today. And she emphasized that this, well, it is an issue that affects all humans and affects all of us in ways that we all consume water and need water to live. She said this affects the land and the relationship of that relationship to land. That, brothers and sisters, is sovereignty. When we can reimagine our relationship with the land, when we can reimagine our relationship with the federal government, when we can reimagine our relationships with each other, that is what tribal sovereignty is about. It is about protecting those relationships that we have with the land and the water. And if that emphasis is lost in all of these rallies, we do a disservice to our brothers and sisters who are fighting for their lives there. We do a disservice to the sovereignty that has been fought for hundreds and hundreds of years. And we do a disservice to those future generations who need that sovereignty to dream about an indigenous future. And this is what we are gathered here for. The same thing with the Public Lands Initiative. It is about robbing the ability to dream an indigenous future. It's not just about the land. Native people have a relationship with the land that is unique, and it's from which we derive our sense of being, our sense of place, and more importantly, to this day, a political and legal identity. This is what we are fighting for. And the water, gosh, I don't know what even to say. Two of the clans I have are water. Navajos have 4 clans, and 3 of them are about water. It is central to everything. If we do not have water, there is no sovereignty. If there is no sovereignty, indigenous people become extinct. They disappear from our political imagination. They disappear from our social imaginations. They disappear from our purview, and we become invisible. We cannot allow this message to be co-opted by something that reduces us to some other color in a multicultural rainbow. That is not what tribal sovereignty is about. And this is what we are here for. And I appreciate and honor your presence in supporting the tribal, in supporting Indigenous rights. What came down today with there was also a statement from the energy transfers. I don't know if any of you read that statement. It was full of irritation. It was full of annoyance. The tone was hostile. And the central message was, why must we stop building and progressing and making profit for the Indians politically interfering for their sacred sites? That is what we are up against. When we talk about water is life, that is the argument they are making, that we as Indigenous people are an interference to progress. They are calling us an interference, an annoyance, and a pebble in their shoe to something bigger. But we stand and we fight. We fight for those today who were at the front lines with the militarized police. We fight for those today who've been arrested and put in jail for prayer. We stand and fight today because in the long term, this Trump administration and a Supreme Court will be hostile to Indigenous people. And Indigenous people are your last line of defense for your recreation areas, for your clean water, and for a healthy and clean environment and future. If we cannot get behind that and dismantle all of this that's happening, and the way we do it is we come together like this. We surround ourselves and understand what the message is about. Because we are here to stay. Indigenous people have survived hundreds of years of genocide and oppression. We have survived the Reagan era, where they attempted to dismantle tribal sovereignty in many significant ways. We survived the Bush era, who could not even articulate what tribal sovereignty meant. We will survive Bush, because at the very source of Indigenous thought and thinking, at least with the Navajo, they say, Hojo Nahaskli, meaning beauty is restored. And you work towards that end, and in that is a notion of resilience. We do not give up. If we did, we would have been gone a long time ago. And despite what is moving forward, I'm fearful, but yet calm and hopeful because of what my ancestors have done to preserve my future. The power of their prayers have enabled me to stand here today. And we will continue to fight. Because if we have our last line of defense for water, for safety of safe ecosystems, when their rights are gone, so are yours. And we must fight and protect sovereignty, because this is at the very foundation and core of it. You have heard it expressed in so many different ways. Our Looking Horse on Saturday expressed it as cultural sovereignty. The source and power of protection comes in understanding what it means when we say all our relations. In Navajo, they say "Kehwingzen," or they say "Kepitnast," meaning all things are interwoven into relationships. If we do not understand that very basic fact, we are doing our brothers and sisters at the front line a disservice. And tonight at the Salt Lake City Council, they are passing a resolution. It is a powerful document that it acknowledges tribal sovereignty. But more than that, it's just not a symbol, it's not just a statement of support. It is an intervention in the erasure of Indigenous peoples. It is an intervention in the destruction of economies, of environments. It is an intervention in the destruction of the sacred. That is what this document represents. It is powerful. I talked with some folks that I know that live in Standing Rock. And on the phone, they shed tears. They were weeping that something like this was coming out of Salt Lake City. We have done something, my brothers and sisters here. So, let us remember why we are here. Thank you.
Okay, next, I would really like it if Nathan Manuel could come speak.
Bichu, Ania Jukit, Subskites, Nathan Manuel. Courage Mook, Al Cookshin. My name is Nathan Manuel, sorry. And first and foremost, I would like, I just want to, like I always do, and just for the protocol and respect to the ancestors in the space that we're occupying, I just want to let it be known that this is not Salt Lake City. This is Shoshone territory, so-called Salt Lake City. And I just want to say, and can I get a shout out to the Red Warrior Camp up in Standing Rock for protecting our sacred water? Along with all the beautiful water protectors up there in Asoti Sokoan, all the beautiful water protectors, please. Our prayers are real. Our energy is real up there. It is important to continue this prayer. It doesn't matter where we're at, to lay down these prayers of healing to the water, for the simple fact that we all are water, and everything that is life is water. So continue to lay down these prayers in this fight that we're trying to win against Dakota Access Pipeline and all these colonizers that don't know what they're doing, and like I would like to refer to, they're acting a fool on stolen land. It's been really interesting watching this election because, in my opinion, indigenous people have never been fooled by this government. We have never been fooled. We have always been exposed to the truth of what they're doing to our mother, and that is flat out genocide. It's flat out rape, and it doesn't surprise us if Trump or Hillary wins it, because in my opinion, ever since they've been here, all these presidents have been nothing but terrorists to us, and it's still going on, and it's going to continue to maintain. And I just want to say I'm excited for the new people that I'm going to be organizing with, because these are the new allies I see right here. I'm glad you guys are here. It's beautiful you guys are here in the spirit of resistance. I don't want to take up too much time, but we have, ever since I've been a little boy, and be able to be coherent and have a conscious thought, my opinion is that, like, we interact with Trumps on a daily. This election should not scare us. I interact with hundreds of Trumps on a daily. So people are scared about what's going to happen. Yes, it is scary, and it's been scary because our water has been attacked, our women have been attacked, our precious air and our precious land have been attacked. And so I'm just excited for everyone to organize and start fighting this war, because we need to win it, because natural law will always prevail all over this colonial law and these white man ways. Please, thank you. That's all I want to say. Nathan Manuel.
Okay, and now I would like to introduce James Singer. I'm hoping that he has a few words to say.
Woo! Thank you. Yeah, that'd be great.
Does he need the banner?
It's a good day to be Indigenous. And white, too. My name is James Singer. I'm with the Utah League of Native American Voters, and I prepared a few words for today. My heart is heavy as I watch in disbelief as men in uniforms, wearing bulletproof vests, wielding assault rifles, form lines and advance on water protectors. Behind them are armored vehicles, the kinds used in time of war. In the air are helicopters, constantly vigilant of our protectors' position on the ground. I see the bravery of the water protectors as they stand for Standing Rock. They're met with pepper spray, literally hosed on them. They resist attacks from dogs, rubber bullets, and the eruption of guns. They're herded like animals, marked with numbers, and hauled off. Because as Americans, we value profit over people. I am witnessing before my eyes the erasure of my people. Since the time our peoples met against the Europeans, these settlers have been trying to figure out how to claim resources, colonize the land, and erase the indigenous. They use words like savage and redskin to prove that we are subhuman. The logic is that subhumans have no concept of possession or land or civilization. It's the logic which led to the near genocide of 95% of the indigenous peoples of these continents. It has also laid the reasoning behind the stealing of all this land. The settler has been ingenious in his ways of dispossessing us of our lands, our culture, and our societies. The settler has created laws which disproportionately favored him, while exploiting and oppressing indigenous peoples. Some of these laws and treaties form the very basis of our tribal sovereignty. In this, we are recognized as a political and legal entity through the U.S. Constitution and through a series of legal cases. Above all, this sovereignty means that we have the power and the right to make choices that have to do with our societies, peoples, and futures. However, in practice, it has consistently fallen short. The reason Standing Rock is primarily a sovereignty issue is because it shows our assertion to our rights as indigenous nations. For many of you here, you have also come because we don't want to hear another tragedy of environmental racism, of a spill that disproportionately affects Native communities. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. For others, you are here because you know the environmental cost that our dependence on fossil fuels created. We need to be investing in renewable energy sources. But above all, as Americans, we need to consume less. Again, for others, you're here to protect water and its life-giving properties. For others, it's an issue of social justice. But at the heart of all these things, though, is sovereignty. It is the lens through which we need to view this movement. If we only focus on environmental racism, or climate change, or social justice, then we are missing the point of what is happening at Standing Rock. We are asserting our rights as sovereigns of the land. That land is Standing Rock Sioux under the treaties. They have the right to protect their connection to the land and water, not just for spiritual reasons, but for personal ones as well. The people there have every right to negotiate or reject any and all propositions that threaten the lifeway of their society. Corporations have a bottom line. They need to bring profit to their shareholders and investors. They have shown time and again across the world that they will do so at the expense of people, governments, the land, water, and air, and the future. They do not care about sovereignty. They do not take it seriously. But standing here, seeing you gathered together, united in purpose, they have to take us seriously. They have to take us seriously. They have to take us seriously because the women and men at Standing Rock have literally put their bodies on the line to slow down, stop, and frustrate in any way they can this settler neoliberal logic. They have to take us seriously because we are more. while their project puts money into the pockets of a very few. The rest of us have everything to lose, and we will not lose. We will not stand for corporations weaseling their way around laws just to destroy us. Right now, we are waiting to hear about upcoming negotiations. The Dakota Access Pipeline is temporarily halted by the Army Corps of Engineers. They will not provide the easement for the construction on the Missouri River without more analysis and discussion with the Standing Rock Sioux. It's a huge victory because it means they are recognizing our sovereignty. This moment is so crucial for our movement. It is picking up the mantle of past indigenous movements and stepping forward. It is a call to those who reject an economy that works for a wealthy few and an economy which leaves our planet for garbage. It puts people of color, indigenous people, no longer as subhuman, but every bit as human as the white person. It is a movement to empower ourselves and our indigenous communities and build a robust future for societies based on our ways of thinking and doing. It is a movement to assert our ability to control our destiny, to stand as nations equal to all the other countries in the world. This evening, as we march and as we enter into the city council chambers, I want you to know you are part of history. Those are white people in positions of power who have heard us and have taken our side. This should give us all great hope and energy to continue on. Onward, on to a future where indigenous peoples can live without fear of oil spills, contaminated drinking water and air. A future where we create strong and happy families, where we see people like us in positions of power, to have designated representatives in elected bodies giving us a voice for our nations. A future where we can work to diminish racism, sexism, and inequality. This world is within our reach, but we must fight for it, every one of us. I invite you to continue on this struggle, not as individuals, but as a united family. And may the Great Spirit bless us in our endeavor. Thank you.
A huge thank you to these presenters. You guys, this is amazing. And to you guys for showing up. This is absolutely incredible. I'm so thrilled to my core to be a part of this and to see so many people here tonight. Real quickly, anybody who has a clipboard, can you please hold that up so that everyone can see? If you see the clipboards, or if you are interested, I should rephrase this, if you're interested in being a part of PANDOS, in volunteering, in being notified of future actions, please find somebody with a clipboard, they should be holding them up right now, and sign up on that. We are definitely looking for a CPA. Anybody out there, if you hear this message, we need you. Now, we're going to go ahead and march. We're going to march down to the City County building. If everybody would take a moment and turn on the flashlight on your cell phones as we march down.